Friends, welcome back to our channel. Now we're moving forward in the story. A sudden earthquake struck Jianghai City. People fell in a flash. Some rolled on the ground, others stopped walking. Smoke and screams spread everywhere. Then, some strange creatures appeared in the sky. A boy standing in the square called out, "Hey, everyone, look up! What is that?" Everyone looked at each other, looking up at the sky. Bone-like dragons hovered there, their bones shining in place of delicate wings. They were rapidly moving towards the city. People whispered among themselves, "It's true. These dragons are coming towards us." Our hero was also in the crowd. As soon as he saw those dragons, his personality changed, a mixture of surprise and fear, his face trembling. He wondered, "What is this? There's something different about these dragons." Just then, a young man stepped forward and glared at Lu Fan, his gaze sharp and murderous. What that voice said was like a warning message. "Lu Fan, can you withstand the power of the ancient god?" Down on the ground, people began to flee. A scene of silence and panic filled the air. Then another voice echoed, a warning of determined containment and control. The crowd grew increasingly restless. Some ran for their homes, others bowed their heads to the ground. The smell of smoke and dust wafted through the air. Lu Fan's breathing quickened. A strange, lingering chill ran through his heart, as if a vision of the future were floating before his eyes. There was chaos everywhere. Everyone ran for their lives. An old man appeared and warned everyone to immediately take shelter underground. A pack of ferocious beasts was approaching. Lu Fan, without delay, flew into the air to assess the danger and went to the bone dragon. Lu Fan already knew the bone dragon and was very surprised to see it. He was perplexed. How could this dragon be revived? Some people appeared before Lu Fan. As soon as Lu Fan saw them, he thought, "Are these all going to fight the ancient bone god?" There was chaos everywhere. People were screaming and running. Some ran for their lives into the street, while others were falling and being crushed. Then an old man appeared, breaking through the crowd. His voice was deep and stern. "Everyone, immediately go to the shelter underground. A pack of ferocious beasts is coming." His warning made the atmosphere even more terrifying. Meanwhile, Lu Fan, without delay, harnessed his strength and flew into the air. His eyes landed directly on those bone dragons. His breath caught as he recognized them. These were the same creatures he had seen before. How is this possible, he thought. Who could revive these dragons? Before he could find an answer, a few people appeared before him. Their faces were stern and their eyes burned with determination. Lu Fan's mind began to question. Were they all here to fight the ancient bone god? But then one of them said loudly, "Don't waste time. We must stop them from entering the residential area." Then he looked at Lu Fan and said, "You must immediately take cover and help the city's defense forces." Lu Fan raised his hand and stopped. "Wait a minute." He took a glowing badge from his pocket and raised it into the air. The sight of the badge made the bystanders freeze. This pleased flashed in their eyes. They whispered, "Griffin Gold. This means he's now the president." Lu Fan's voice was firm and commanding. "Leave this task to me now. You evacuate the civilians and ensure their safety. Message the other teams not to gather in one place. Work in a dispersed manner to avoid being targeted." His words carried such power that everyone present immediately bowed and said, "Yes, sir, we will obey your orders." Lu Fan had just stepped forward when his phone suddenly rang. He paused, took it out of his pocket, and glanced at the screen. But then a man answered and said, "Hurry up, we can't let it get near residential areas." He also looked at Lu Fan and said, "Hurry up, go to the shelter and help the city's defense forces complete their mission. Don't wait." But Lu Fan overheard him and said, "Hey, brother, wait a minute." Lu Fan took out his badge and showed it to them. It was the symbol of the Griffin Gold. This means that by obtaining the Griffin Gold, Lu Fan had now become the president. And then, at that very moment, Lu Fan ordered everyone, "Leave this task to me now. You go and evacuate the civilians and ensure their safety. Inform the other teams not to gather together. They should disperse and work separately to avoid being targeted." As Lu Fan gave his order, Everyone listened attentively and said, "Yes, sir, we will follow your orders." As Lufan left, his phone suddenly started ringing. He looked at his phone. Lufan, overcome with panic, stepped forward with cool thought. A quick calculation ran through his mind. If he summoned the Tao of the Nine Realms, a storm of magical energies would erupt, unleashing uncontrolled power and endangering innocent lives. This was not an opportunity for him. So, he chose the path of puppet teams, small, precise, and controlled, a weapon that would limit his losses. Then he slowly put the phone to his ear and paused. "Dean Bai, don't come out until this flood subsides." The phone hung up after hearing the dean's nod. Lufan's gaze returned to the sky. He was startled by the dragon. It now had a new body, a new consciousness, and arrived so quickly it seemed as if someone had twisted time. A heaviness settled in Lufan's chest. This surprise wasn't just fear. It was also a warning that this battle was about to be different and far more dangerous. Lufan now understood that he had to attack them. Lufan immediately summoned Xiao Fei. He ordered Xiao Fei to immediately summon the corrupted sacred dragon. Xiao Fei heard the order. Natural assimilation appeared in the status window. The dragon played the bone flute and summoned a fallen corpse sacred dragon. The fallen corpse sacred dragon was the same level as the user. Xiao Fei immediately summoned the dragon. The dragon roared loudly as it appeared. Lufan also summoned the child he had just killed. Then he gathered all the puppets and ordered them to form a puppet team and kill this dragon. Remember, try to limit the scope of the damage. A large team of puppets stood in front of Lufan, and Lufan once again confirmed, "Did you hear me?" Everyone replied, "Master, we heard everything." Corpse control appeared in the status window. He controls the corpse puppets and can transform, summon, and send them back. Lufan was now ready to attack. He immediately ordered them to disperse in all directions. All of Fan's puppets immediately scattered in all directions and began attacking the dragon. Lufan wasted no time and immediately summoned all his dragons. Fan understood that this time the fight was no ordinary dragon, and the pressure this time was absolutely extraordinary. But Lufan feared that what would happen this time would be the true body of the ancient bone god. All eyes focused on Chen Tianji. Lufan's staring eyes also focused on him. The atmosphere froze, as if To was holding back every breath. Chen Tianji's smile was cold, and an old scar was awakening in his eyes. "Old friend," he said softly, "the story of you and this city will end today." The bone dragon's words echoed in the air. His voice was filled with hatred and triumph. "Lufan, today I will destroy you. Your blood will quench my thirst, and your name will be erased." Lufan gripped his sword tightly, his eyes fixed firmly. "You unleashed a wave of Tai Chi, and now you will not surrender the city under false pretenses," he said. His voice was calm, but the fire within was palpable. Chen Tianji twirled his sword between his fingers. Its ripples into the air sparkled and shot straight towards Lufan. The two swords collided. A flash of light spread, and the swords came close to breaking. Just then, a huge explosion erupted from the sky. The light from the bones spread, creating a haze all around. The fallen corpse sacred dragon roared and tried to spread its cursed spiritual net. Lufan called out, "Dragons, unite! Puppets, cut the thread!" Xiao Fei, Goatse, and Star Dragon roared together, tearing through the sky and rushing towards Chen Tianji and the Bone Dragon. The helmsman formed a defensive wall with an unseen collusion, but Lufan summoned a cold strategy within him. He knew that a direct attack would do nothing. He had to cut the thread that fueled regeneration. The puppets silently surrounded and slowly pounced on the marks surrounding the helmsman. At that very moment, Chen Tianji launched a powerful attack, his sword splitting the air and unleashing a powerful energy wave. But this one was also directed away from the townspeople. His aim was maximum destruction. Lufan hardened his heart. "If this is the ancient bone god, I will find out his true identity today and bury him," he said to himself. His eyes now held the unwavering determination only a leader and warrior can muster. The battle had become bitter. Every step was a price. The fate of the city now rested on the swords, roars, and movements of the puppets, and Lu Fan was determined.
Lu Fan was now exhausted by Chen Tianjai's constant attacks. His face became frozen, no more waiting. He ordered in a cold voice, "Zio Fei, Dragon Domain, open the Emerald Mirror as well." Zio Fei suddenly appeared. A calm, collected light shone in his eyes, and instantly an emerald green aura began to spread all around. Rising from the ground, the green light condensed into a circular shape, the Emerald Mirror. Then suddenly, a huge eye appeared in the sky, neither human nor animal. Its pupils seemed to scan time and space. The eye slowly rotated, spreading its influence throughout the surrounding atmosphere. The wind's speed changed, the light's color deepened. As the dragon domain activated, the karmic laws of the area changed. Within a 100-meter range, Lu Fan's power naturally intensified. Each movement, each strike, gained 50% more intensity. Also, the power of non-dragons and enemies is halved. The key feature of the Emerald Mirror's power is that it selects an ally unit and creates a mirror image or images at a fixed rate. The ally unit will receive all of the ally's skills, along with 30% of the original unit's attributes. The maximum number of mirror images per unit is 2. Against an ally with dragon or dragon blood, the effect will be doubled. But the next moment, a strange silence fell. Lu Fan looked at Xiaofei in shock. The emerald light had faded, and the huge eye hovering in the sky dissipated like mist. Xiaofei stood there, but her eyes were empty, as if extinguished from within. Lu Fan's heart sank. He called out sharply, "Xiaofei." But there was no response. Her breathing was normal, her body was steady, but it was as if her soul had been drawn away. Questions began to swirl in his mind. Is it because of the burden of the dragon domain and the Emerald Mirror's power? Or is she simply unable to hold both these powers together? Lu Fan's brows furrowed tightly. Was this Xiaofei's inability or the result of some deeper reason? The bone dragon's laughter sounded cold and hollow, like empty air escaping from an old grave. He charged forward, the cracking sound of his bones echoing in the air. "Lu Fan," he said in a broken voice, "your tricks won't fool me this time. Your magic tricks, Dragon Domain, Emerald Mirror, are all useless. I've already investigated their source." All of Lu Fan's powers suddenly faded like a lamp extinguished. The emerald light rising in the sky, the heavy aura of the domain, everything seemed to have been sucked away in one fell swoop. The bone dragon's eyes flashed. It rattled its dry bones and let out a roar that shook the earth. At that very moment, it activated the God Bond domain. This power was no ordinary one. It was the power to ignite the heavens and golden bonds of the gods. As it spread, every illusory formation, every protective structure, every deceptive ability, all around it, was completely destroyed. The bone dragon let out a piercing, cold laugh and stood right in front of Lu Fan. The rattling of its bones echoed in the air. It said in a high, innocent voice, "Lu Fan, this time you won't be able to defeat me. I will taste your every despair, mock your every struggle, and finally destroy you." Something roared tightly in Lu Fan's chest. He now understood how serious things were. His powers were truly fatting. He felt his limbs freezing. There was fear in his heart, but more than that, a burning resolve. He raised his sword and leaped into the air, his eyes no longer filled with regret, only determination. At that very moment, Chen Tianjai brought out his magic lake and charged forward, calling out, "Hey, Lu Fan, you're so naive. We are the bone gods. You want to defeat us. You won't even be able to stand against us." His voice was tinged with arrogance and old bitterness. The bone dragon sneered at him. "You're ignorant. Chen Tianjai is a god bond tamer level 5. His level is over 110. What will you prove by defeating him?" Lu Fan's stomach sank. The world stopped for a moment. His oath of allegiance before the ancient god. This was truly a deadly front. But fear could not stop him. He quickly looked at Xiaofei and with a stern voice ordered, "Xiao, immediately activate the power of destruction. If this domain is left open, a terrible catastrophe will engulf the entire region." His voice still trembled, but so did his unwavering will. The air around him trembled, a compressed moment of time where victory or defeat could be decided in an instant. Upon hearing Lu Fan's command, GOC immediately activated and roared loudly. which had little effect on the bone dragon. But just then, Lu Fan activated world-destroying 300,000 heavenly thunder, a forbidden spell of the dragon language that summons a storm and simultaneously causes 300,000 destructions within the target's range. Destructive thunder surge, this skill is not affected by the source of the thunder, but by the edge of the thunder. Star Dragon, also known as Bevabhava, also uses instantaneous starlight power. He gathers all the starlight powers in his body and fires a laser. A suit that deals unprecedented damage and ignores defenses. It's unstoppable. The peak power achieved depends on the level of the individual. The Bone Dragon once again appeared before Nu Fan and Lu Fan and taunted them, saying, "Look, how dare a mere Dragon Clan member fight a god? How foolish he is." Then, at the same time, he used the God Bond barrier. With the power of the God Bone, he erected a barrier in front of him, absorbing the fragments of the protective bones surrounding him. Lu Fan was shocked. Oh, how did this happen? He was perplexed. He thought that even after attacking simultaneously, the dragons were unable to break through the shield. The Bone Dragon immediately ran towards Lu Fan and shouted, "Hey, Lu Fan, do you still have time to protect your dragon? You can protect your dragon. Your opponent is right in front of you now." Lu Fan saw his reaction and was surprised. He said, "Well, no, the ancient bone god and the bone slave, Chen Tian, the ancient god, have become huge." Lu Fan was convinced that these people were no longer extraordinary. They had become powerful. Even after all that, they couldn't be hurt at all. Jian Jai was completely different from the previous ancient god slave. The dragon flew through the air and appeared before Lu Fan and laughed. "Lu Fan, I'm no longer the person you killed so easily. Now you can't kill me under any circumstances. You are nothing compared to the power of the ancient god." The Bone Dragon looked at Lu Fan and said contemptuously, "Lu Fan, now I will show you my 100-level divine skills. These are skills that are not suitable for your level at all." At the same time, the Bone Dragon used God Bone Silver Glow. This is a power that uses the power of the God Bone to fuse pieces of guard bone together to form bone armor, which provides immunity to any control effects and increases all attributes by 250%. Seeing this scene, Lu Fan's heart was filled with panic and anger. The anxiety in his eyes was evident. The Bone Dragon's power was constantly increasing, as if both heaven and earth would bow before it. But Lu Fan knew that a moment's delay could cost Xiao Fei her life. His heart raced, and he shouted with all his might, "Xiao Feng, now assume Emerald Dragon form." His voice didn't convey an order, but rather an urgency and deep concern to save his comrade. Glancing at Xiao Feng, he said with a trembling heart, "Xiao Feng, I need you now, join me." The Bone Dragon also moved forward to attack Lu Fan. He said, "Now you should feel what it feels like when someone hits you. You too will feel the crushing." But Lu Fan had some plan brewing inside him. He continued fighting. As he fought, he ordered his dragons, "I'm fine. Keep attacking the divine bone, ancient god." Meanwhile, all of Lu Fan's dragons began attacking the divine Bone Dragon simultaneously, but to no avail. The Bone Dragon realized that they were all attacking him, but it had no significant effect. And then he was stunned for a moment. Then he said angrily, "Hey, you're all just insects. You can't do anything to me." At that very moment, the divine Bone Dragon grabbed Lu Fan's dragon like a human child. Lu Fan gripped his dragon sword tightly. His eyes glowed like fire, and red energy erupted from his entire body. He took a deep breath and concentrated all his strength. "Sky Slash," he shouted loudly. Instantly, a fierce blue-red glow erupted from his sword. This power was connected to his dragon, but just then, the new dragon Lu Fan had just acquired suddenly emerged from the portal. Sensing the situation, it immediately released the power of the underworld poison, which was so poisonous that it engulfed the city within the target's reach and created a poisonous fog. The poisonous fog accumulates in layers on enemies within its range, and the higher the layer, the more damage it inflicts per second. There is no upper limit to the number of layers. And then, the next layer, known in the current world as the 10,000 poison belt, sows seeds within the target, and as it grows, its health steadily decreases. As soon as the little dragon released its power, the Bone Dragon looked at Lu Fan and mocked him. "Now, I will destroy you." The bone dragon immediately used the power of the god bond dragon gun, gathered the power of the guard bond dragon, and delivered a powerful blow with its existing weapon. As Lu Fan approached, Zyuji attacked him with all his might and crushed his hand with his mouth. The bone dragon laughed slightly at this and said, "That was just a little trick of yours. It won't have any effect on me." But the time had come for Lu Fan's plan. He roared loudly, "Now is the time, activate the poison." At the same time, the little dragon activated its poison. Meanwhile, Boon Bao Bao also gathered all his strength and unleashed his stars, unleashing his power to its peak. Zio Four Eyes and Zyuji also prepared. They all attacked the bone dragon together. As all the power fell upon the bone dragon, its bones began to break. It began to crack. It declared once again, "I am the master of bones, you cannot kill me." But the next moment, Zio Fei appears and uses his power on him. All of the bone dragon's bones begin to shatter. Within moments, the poison, with the help of the little dragon, forms a strong layer on his bones and absorbs his power. Within moments, his bones begin to break. He begins to disintegrate terribly. Now the bone dragon is convinced that Lu Fan is also powerful, but once again he stands up and shouts, "Now I will crush you, now I will not spare you, I will not spare anyone," and spread in the motion of 2 consecutive strikes. The first strike, the sword cleaved the air, shaking the bone dragon's massive bones. The second time, Lu Fan channeled the dragon's tamed energy into his dragon's claws, and as their claws attacked, cracks began to form in the bone dragon's defenses.